I remember so distinctly when I found out about outreaches out to the park. And when I started speaking, I literally thought I was going to hyperventilate. It was so exciting, the thing that I was sharing. The gospel, as we know, is good news for a lost world. No other answer but the gospel of Christ Jesus.
Pastor Warner, when he would close the service, he said, go share Jesus. So I went and I told my friends I had gotten saved. By lunchtime, I didn't have no more friends. But I wasn't scared. I was full of, God, and it just didn't bother me.
What makes the gospel good news is that it is a message that universally answers the universal problems that human beings encounter.
There was a sense of hope that God was going to help me with my problems. And my evangelism, I could not keep quiet. It just flowed out of me.
And I remember Pastor Warner always saying, you just win souls for Jesus. You just go and you win souls. That's what we do. We're in the business of that.
¿Cuál es la buena noticia del Evangelio? Es que somos pecadores. Alguien pagó por nuestros pecados. No hay ninguna obra que una persona pueda hacer para ser salvo.
2 Timothy 4:5, Paul's writing to Timothy and he says, do the work of an evangelist. He's not talking about the office of an evangelist. His emphasis is do the work, the daily work, the lifestyle work of being someone who is concerned and used to bring people the good news of Jesus Christ.
The problem is I can't do a wheelie with this deal here.
The first time someone really witnessed to me was November 14th, 1970, and it was on the dance floor. When I first heard about Jesus was at a concert at the Prescott Armory. So it wasn't a church setting. It wasn't even a spiritual setting. This young lady invited me the next day, which would have been a Sunday night, to a church service. We have this religious understanding, but God works in the affairs of men, and that is the normal, everyday interactions and events. He is very much at work.
We've been pastoring maybe, 40 years, about 40 years. Coming to Mexico City was a fight for me. I was happy where I was at. I remember telling Jesus, I think I've done enough, I think we've done enough. But I remember Jesus telling me, this is God. And I said, okay then, if this is what you're saying that is God, then I'll come. And that's when God told me, you know what, I'll take care of your children. Okay then, let's go. Sold our house, sold everything, and we came. And Sunday night before he preached our farewell, we were leaving Monday, I told Jesus, I can't believe that my life has been reduced to 13 duffel bags. But I was okay with it, and I'm okay with it now, Before I met Jesus, I lived in a dysfunctional family. We went to this concert, and I was 14 years old, March 9th, and me and my mom and my family, we got saved. And from that moment on, we started going to church. I fell in love with Jesus, and I started seeing things different. I was the kind of girl that said, I'll never want to get married. But when I came to church and I started seeing families, there was only like 40 of us there. Then I changed my mind. This is what I want. You know, I want a family. I want to live and grow up in church.
Oh yeah, it was radically different than the way I was living. One, they were very welcoming, but what stood out the most was the promise that Jesus Christ could change my life that resonated with me.
I really had my first real encounter with God when I was 16 years old, and I began to experiment with drugs and stuff, but I felt very convicted about that, and I prayed a sinner's prayer, if you will, but it only lasted a couple of weeks. By the time I was 18 years old, I was shooting heroin and in relationships and stuff, and that pattern of being addicted lasted until my early 20s. Woke up one day and said, I don't want to be a 40-year-old drug addict. God, I've messed up my life. If you can do anything with it, here it is.
Wow, my life was a mess. A lot of people don't know this, but at the age of 21, I suffered a mental breakdown. 2 men came to where I was at to share with someone else, and the person that came to visit rejected. However, I was very attentive to what they were saying, and I opened my heart to Jesus. I think one thing that I remember clearly is that after my salvation, I saw how beautiful the sky was. The culture in the church at that time was sending out many young men. Definitely when we went to Panama, it was a very difficult time in the history of Panama. And I realized then that the answer for Panama or any nation was the gospel.
There's something about when you are a strong testimony for the gospel, many times you don't fit in. And so we worry about what will I do when I get in this situation, but the truth is God's already ahead of us. The church in the book of Acts says that when they were persecuted, they went everywhere preaching the word.
Well, we really felt the need, we needed a bigger facility.
One of our members in our church said, I want to show you a building.
It was decrepit. I mean, it was in terrible shape.
And we worked hard on it. This was back in November of 2021.
And we open up. People are excited. We're being noticed in the neighborhood. People are coming out.
After 3 months, they came and they closed us down.
People from the government with their blue vests came in.
They put signs all over our buildings and they said, that's it, you're done.
The reality is that they wanted large amounts of money.
So we went to the park. We had services in the park, but the rainy seasons were coming, so we needed to find another place to have service.
We had no identity. Not everything is a walk in the park. And oftentimes when you're down and out, the best thing you can do is go share the good news. You know, something about your perspective changing when you vocalize the gospel. When we found this one, immediately when I walked in, I said, this would work.
It's a different experience being in Mexico City than all the other times that we've been out because we're by ourselves. We don't have our children. Your focus is different. Your focus is on the people. And I realize that sometimes just giving somebody a hug and letting them know that you're there, it means something to some of these women that sometimes live a hard life. I'm grateful that we still can participate in activities in church and see lives changed and see my children serve God. It's been worth it to me.
We gotta talk at you.
Yes. Yes.
All in Brittany's. Hi, my name is Anthony Miner.
And I'm Brittany Miner, and we're in Indianapolis, Indiana. I think as a church kid, even fully having a great relationship with God now, it's still kind of like, I don't really have like a testimony, because there wasn't any point where it was like, oh my gosh, I get it now. It was like, I get it, but I'm still gonna make this wrong choice. I wasn't surrendered to God. I was like, I can do this. I can serve God. on my own, me doing my own thing. I moved back to Tucson, and that was when I was like, okay, God, obviously I can't, and I don't know what to do now. And that was when God really came in and showed me his grace, and God's love for me began to mean so much to me that I wanted to share it with other people.
You don't do things for people that you don't have any kind of care for or concern, or especially deep love. You don't change your life for a stranger. And so here I am, I'm proclaiming to be a born-again Christian follower of Jesus Christ, and I'm struggling. And this goes all the way into the beginning of my marriage. Basically, I'm just like, you know what, I'm done with this, man, and I'm threatening to walk out on my wife, you know, ready to walk away from the church, ready to just kind of walk away from everything, man. And he hits me, you need to be in love with Jesus. I remember I went to this kind of retreat thing. It's out in Colorado, man. We're out in the mountains in the snow and stuff, just praying like, God, you know, I want to know you more. I want to be in love with you. And just, I'm in this moment, and man, I can only describe it as just kind of this vision. I'm watching a man, he's surrounded by different kinds of cups, chalices, thermoses, and he looks over to this pile of cups that are like just, you know, broken, destroyed. Sees this, you know, styrofoam paper cup, like the white one that you get coffee in. It's got a hole in the bottom. I immediately understand it as me, like I am this cup. And this man, he fixes me, pours into me. And then all of a sudden, everything clicked, like I had purpose now. Even then, it wasn't like, I know I'm called to be a preacher. It was just like, and I'm called to be a vessel. And if that's what God chooses for me to do, I will do that 110%.
For me, it's a real honor to be able to give my kids what I grew up with and see them in ministry and seeing their little personalities fit into building our church together.
You know, this whole experience of pioneering, yeah, man, you know, when I really think about it, it's a little bit terrifying. At the same time, that's worth it to see people's lives change, you know, because now I'm fulfilling what God has created me to do.
Jesus talked about, you know, scattering the seed, and not every seed's gonna, you know, spring up. Some of them spring up for a short time and they die, but then there's the one that brings forth 30, 60, and 100-fold. Right now we have 6 churches out, 3 of them are international. It's a great blessing. I know it excites the church. There's a dignity when we realize you're having impact beyond the borders of your own country. Eric and Betsy Quillian were already in Equatorial Guinea when I got here, and that's been a miracle work of God. In Joinville, it's a great thing to see Fred and Rachel there because they're the next generation. There are more fertile grounds where you just go through and, you know, you witness and people come to church automatically. Other grounds have to be, you know, watered and dug a little more, and so Brazil's been that way. But there's no lack of passion and no lack of vision for them in that nation. The confidence that I have in doing things beyond the borders of the United States is that we're walking in the commission and authority of Jesus Christ. We're not walking in our own inspiration. We're not walking in our own ideas. We're walking under His command to us to do that. And the apprehensions are subsided when you know that I'm walking in what Jesus told me to do.
Jesus was always adapting His strategy. To the woman at the well, He talked to her about water. To Nicodemus, the priest, He talked to him about a new birth. Different people, different situations, and they were tailored for the truth that He was presenting. So in our everyday lives, we can see really supernatural workings by just simply being available and realizing it's not just my duty, but it's my delight that God can work through me to actually touch another human being and see their life transformed.
Hello, my name is Avisai Jimenez. I'm the first Spanish-speaking door director in Tucson, Arizona.
My name is Alexandra Jimenez. We are here in Apopa, El Salvador.
Bueno, sí, probando sonido, sí, sí. I love you, my friend.
Good meal.
Is this good, Johnny? Yeah.
El Salvador para mí es muy especial, muy especial. Yo viví aquí de mi niñez a la adolescencia. Mis padres fueron misioneros en diferentes países, en Nicaragua, El Salvador, Panamá. De hecho, aquí a El Salvador fue donde realmente conocí a Jesús. Y siempre en mi mente estaba regresar a El Salvador. Algún día voy a regresar.
I grew up in church. So at the age of 14, I decided to surrender my life to God. I met my husband in Nogales, Sonora. He always talking to me about his dream to be missionary. We got married in 2017.
Yo sabía que tenía el llamado de Dios, pero muchas veces huía del llamado de Dios. Estaba yo en mi mente peleando muchas luchas, muchas batallas por el hecho de haber sido hijo de misionero. Y me fui a Tucson pensando en llegar a la iglesia, sentarme y que nadie me conociera. Ser feliz, ser salvo, trabajar para mi familia. Pero creo que llegar a Tucson es el peor lugar para huir de la voluntad de Dios. Yo recuerdo un día estar con mi corazón cerrado y el pastor Garrett predica un sermón donde él empieza a decir: ¿qué vas a hacer con las banderas que tus padres te han dejado? Y yo me sentía en Tucson diciendo: nadie me conoce aquí, ¿por qué? ¿Qué está pasando? Yo recuerdo pasar al altar y decirle: Dios, otra vez aquí estoy.
Yeah, he was running from God. I mean, both of us. Moving to Tucson was a healing place for us.
Cuando el pastor Warner nos llama a mí y a mi esposa, yo y mi esposa no teníamos ningún lugar en mente, solo habíamos dicho estas palabras: el lugar que Dios le ponga al pastor Warner, ese es el lugar que vamos a ir. Y estábamos nerviosos. Cuando él dice: se ha abierto una puerta para El Salvador, yo estaba así y de repente mi cara: yes, dije sí.
I'm Jeremiah Wacker. My wife Geneva and I are pioneering a church in San Salvador, El Salvador. El Salvador is in Central America. It's the smallest country, about 6 to 7 million people. It's come out of about 30 years of civil war, really intense gang activity, was close to the murder capital of the world. Recently, they got a new president. Bukele came in, and the social, the economic changes have been revolutionary. Now they are the safest place in the Western Hemisphere, and that opened up a tremendous door. They're a very friendly culture. There's a lot of hope in their eyes. There's opportunity. People want to take advantage of the opportunity, but there's also a lot of deep wounds. So what I'm excited about is seeing lives restored, seeing families restored, seeing the biblical pattern for manhood and leading a family, to just see that unlocked.
Antes de llegar a la iglesia, pues mi vida atravesaba muchas situaciones difíciles. Una de las principales era que yo sufría mucho de ansiedad y de depresión. Sentía que todos los problemas que venían a mi vida pues iban a acabar conmigo, pero gracias a Dios pues llegué a la iglesia y mi vida cambió.
Y si algo aprendí yo de Tucson, Arizona,
es que los pastores siempre se aprendían los nombres de las personas. Tú los saludas y le dices, ¿cómo estás, hermano? Y con su nombre, eso causa algo en la gente.
En El Salvador existen diferentes iglesias, pero yo experimenté en muchas y no encontré lo que realmente es un compañerismo. Puedo contarles de que después de haber llegado a la iglesia, pues lo primero que yo recibí en la iglesia fue amor. Hay esa parte de no solo compartir el evangelio, sino compartir nuestra vida también a través a veces de diferentes dinámicas, juegos, música, todo.
Coming here to El Salvador and bring the gospel to people, it's very exciting because we are sharing not to have a religion, but have a personal relationship with God. They are able to pray personal to God. Like they don't have to run with a pastor or someone else to ask them to pray, that everyone is a daughter or son of God.
Mi nombre es Marlon Martínez y soy de Apopa, El Salvador. Básicamente yo crecí en un hogar en el que sí sabíamos de la existencia de Dios, íbamos a la iglesia, pero no vivíamos para Dios. Cuando vuelvo a esta iglesia, la iglesia de la Puerta en Apopa, tengo un reencuentro con Dios y al principio para mí era muy difícil pensar, Dios me quiere de regreso. Pensaba que por mi estilo de vida yo no era merecedor de la gracia de Dios.
El ver a mi hijo, muchas veces eso me motiva también a seguir adelante. El ver que también está buscando de Dios y él está siguiendo un camino correcto.
Y el Espíritu Santo fue convenciéndome y dándome convicciones reales sobre lo que era vivir para Jesús.
En noviembre fui a una consulta y me diagnosticaban, pronosticaban que podría ser cáncer de mama.
Yo sentí que mi mundo se vino abajo y estaba como, bueno, vamos a confiar en lo que Dios hará.
La iglesia se unió conmigo en oración.
Vamos a ayunar, vamos a intentar confiar en Dios.
Y recuerdo que el día que me iban a entregar el resultado de los exámenes, yo solo le dije, Dios, que sea tu voluntad, pero ayúdame y no me abandones en ese proceso. Para mi mayor sorpresa de milagro fue que me diagnosticaron que estaba sana.
Y fue en el momento en el que yo dije, este es mi Dios, es un Dios vivo, es un Dios al que yo puedo hablarle, puedo clamar, puedo pedir todo el tiempo y confiar en lo que Él va a hacer. Y sea cual sea el resultado, yo sé que Dios tiene el control.
Mi apellido es Juárez, mi nombre es Altagracia, soy del Salvador, de Apopa, San Salvador.
Nosotros en el compañerismo normalmente salimos a la esquina a predicar con un micrófono. Y aquí en El Salvador hay un problema, que hay muchas iglesias religiosas. Y usan este método, pero la gente ya está cansada de esta forma. Y yo miré esto y dije, no puedo hacer lo mismo que ellos hacen, tengo que buscar otras formas.
Muchas veces hemos visto que el hecho de compartir nuestro testimonio y decir, esto fue lo que yo era y pues esto es lo que Dios está haciendo en mi vida, la gente se anima.
Y esa forma de evangelizar de la cultura de la invitación creo que es la que más resultado ha dado.
What's very exciting is the partnership. When they came, we were really blessed and honored to be able to welcome them, to help them get settled. And then he's helped me, because I'm the gringo, I don't speak Spanish. So he's helped us with song service, taught some of our people instruments. So you see a kind of a synergy. You see like different troops in different places, but supporting each other.
I think the most exciting thing of being here in El Salvador as missionaries is do the will of God with my family.
Y aunque es difícil porque dejas todo, dejas trabajo, familia, amigos, las almas lo valen. Y yo creo que eso es lo más importante, el ver una persona que se rinde a los pies de Jesús. Eso te hace sentir, wow, realmente está valiendo la pena el sacrificio para venir a traer las buenas nuevas de Jesús.
The emphasis in 2 Corinthians chapter 5 is that we are ambassadors, so our lives are not about just our own interests. But if we are an ambassador, then our concern is I'm representing the interests of my king or kingdom that I am a part of. But it goes deeper. As ambassadors, God is making the appeal, and the appeal in 2 Corinthians 5 is be reconciled to God. Come back into friendship with God. God is actually and literally making His appeal through us.
Okay, well, so I got to go back when my sister Teresa first got saved. So she was bringing us to church. I think that was like in 74, maybe. So I think we were like in 7th grade or whatnot, 8th grade. One thing that impacted me was Pastor Warner. I didn't know who he was, but he's when we would go into the door, he would sit there and he would just say, "Oh, hello, Norma, Dolores, Irene, Yoli," and it just was like, how does this man know our names, you know? We didn't know he was the pastor. So when she would bring us again, I told the girls, let's just switch it up, you know, and see if he really remembers us. And every time we would come, he would shake our hands. Hello, Norma, Dolores, Yolanda, Lucy, Irene. So there were 6 of us, you know, and I was just blown away by that. And as a little girl, like to me, you know, 11, 12 years old, I was like, wow, this man knows our name. But I believe later on, the reason was because I believe he was really praying for us.
Take number 155. Okay.
Are you going to say, I'm Pastor Chris Lenore from Door Church, Hamburg?
No, because pastor's not my name. Ready? Okay, great. Hi, I'm Chris Lenore.
And I'm Stacy Lenore, and we are in Hamburg, Germany. Yeah.
Here we go. It was on the 3rd of July, 2004. I just came out of the barber shop, just had my hair done. And then the guy gave me a leaflet. All I saw was a rap and hip hop because that was really what I was into. And then I went to this concert, and what surprised me was that they wasn't rapping about the usual stuff that I was into or that I heard about, but they were rapping about Jesus. And I had never heard that Jesus could change someone's life, right? From then on, God just did the work.
Forward that to high school, I was coming to church with my sisters for like 3 months before I got saved. I remember Richard telling me, Norma, you're in a dangerous place. You don't know if God's always going to stride with you and whether or not the Spirit of God is always going to convict you.
Before I came to Christ, I grew up in a Christian house. My dad was a Baptist pastor. However, I was missing that element of the life-changing Jesus. For me, when the good news became real and became personal to me was when I was in my 2nd year of uni, and we went to a church that we'd been invited to from getting a flyer on the street. I was presented with the very real fact of my sin.
Eventually started to get plugged in and started to get involved in just ministry. And I remember going to Pastor Jay and I said, hey, so how do you know you're called to preach or you're called to be a pastor and whatnot? And he said, when you know that you know that you know that you know. And then he leaned in and said, do you know? And in that moment, I just knew. I knew it like the back of my hand. I just knew God had called me to preach.
We took over Pastor Leon's Pioneer Baby Church in a small little town called Dudley in the Midlands in England.
Yeah, I think there's an opportunity right now throughout Europe to just really see something new. Chris is Austrian by heritage, and he was one of our pastors. He was pastoring in Manchester, and I got to know him a little bit.
We had a revival with Pastor Fred in September 2019. I asked the question, said, have you ever considered or thought about Germany? It came up because I grew up in Austria, so I could speak, read and write in German. Pastor Fred just said, hey, pray about it.
And so I was planning on sending him out, then lockdown came, and I thought, Chris, we're probably gonna have to wait this out, see what happens later. But Chris didn't want to wait it out. In no time, he was packed up and moved to Hamburg.
Hi, I'm Katja. I'm 21 years old. I live in Hamburg, and I'm going to this church since more than 4 years. Also ich kannte Kirche nur unter strikt und streng und langweilig und ruhig. Und ich wusste nicht, dass eine Kirche persönlich sein kann, dass sie dein Herz berühren kann und dass sie familiär sein kann. Und als ich hier dann war, auch wenn wir nur zu zweit waren, ich habe mich direkt wohlgefühlt und die haben mich aufgenommen und waren interessiert an meinem Leben und alles, was ich mache und eine Beziehung zu mir und Gott, und das war wirklich schön.
And I remember one time I was walking and I saw this group of teenagers. I just felt like, hey, just witness to them. And then I spoke to them. The next day comes and I had forgotten about them. Stacy came to me, Stacy said, hey, there's 3 girls outside the church. I think they're looking for this church. I said, really? Yeah, and I went out and there were these 3 girls. And they brought a girl called Nadia. And then Nadia brought Katya. And then those 2 became just an integral part of the church, and they're still in the church today.
The gospel, does reach you when you love people and you care for them, because you set that atmosphere and you're valued. And I felt, as a little girl, wow, I'm important. And that's what Jesus does. You're important to him. You're an individual and you're important. Hopefully that's what we demonstrate when you come to the church.
Also jetzt, wo ich Jesus kenne, bin ich dankbar dafür, dass er einfach in meinem Leben ist, dass ich einfach, egal was passiert, egal was für eine schwierige Situation ich in meinem Leben habe und wie häufig ich falle und Fehler mache, ich bin dankbar dafür, dass es jemanden gibt, der mich trotz dessen liebt.
For me, one of the most exciting things I would say is seeing their passion for God. They want to work excellently for God and not just get by and be a Sunday Christian, seeing them also bring their friends and using their different means, platforms to tell others about Jesus and spread the good news, and you can see how much they love God.
Ich habe die Frage mal nach einem Jahr, nach 2 Jahren so gefragt, woher die Dort Church überhaupt kommt richtig. Und dann, als ich erfahren habe, dass wir in Australien sind, in Amerika, in England, in Afrika, in verschiedenen Ländern und Orten und dass es immer größer wird, das war so schön zu sehen, dass wir so eine große Gemeinschaft sind über die ganze Welt und dass wir auch so connected sind mit allen und uns auch treffen auf Events, Conference, und das ist so richtig schön zu sehen, wie so 2 Leute irgendwo geplantet werden in einem Land und dass dann mehr Leute geplantet werden über die ganze Welt hinaus, ist so, ich will ein Teil davon sein, ich bin froh, ein Teil davon zu sein.
I appreciate it more than ever now that I am a missionary, the benefit I have of being able to pick up the phone to call my pastor. So I'm really, really blessed to be part of our fellowship. I'm really, really blessed in the impact teams that we have received. And by God's grace, we're now in a position where we are also able to help other churches and send out our own teams.
Where we are in Spain is the southern part in Andalusia. It's still a part of Sevilla, but it's more south of Sevilla. There's a little bit of the south versus the north in Spain. Basically, the city is not as affordable as outside, and so they're building this up, and families are starting to move down here in Los Bermejales and in Dos Hermanas. Yeah, so I was born in Malaga, Spain. My family moved to America when I was 1.
I grew up in church. I was raised in the things of God. When I was 18, 19, I kind of felt like, I'm going to join the military because I want to get away from church life.
I want to say that, I heard the testimonies of my parents, which were strong. As time went on, I got serious with God. I think when I heard sermons challenging to get rid of all other option Bs or just go forward with only God, fully committed. Hearing those things and going to the altar I think those were things that kind of like just deepened and solidified, and just I think just different moments like that for me as a church kid brought me to a place where I started getting more serious with God.
When we went to the Middle East, when we deployed, I specifically remember it felt like a hand that was covering me was removed. And that prompted me to pray and rededicate my life to Jesus. And experiencing salvation for myself has made me say, I want people to experience what I've experienced.
We were pastoring in California for 11 years. And all of a sudden he comes in and he says, Spain's on my heart.
Mi nombre es Alberto Maleno, mi esposa se llama Rebeca. Estamos pastoreando la iglesia de Almería desde el año 2004. Tenemos 2 hijos, Moisés y Daniel. Sirven a Dios con nosotros. Estamos juntos como familia. Yo escuché cuando era un joven ese comentario de que en España mueren todos los misioneros. Y me dolió mucho porque soy español. ¿Por qué tiene que morir misioneros en España? ¿Por qué tienen que morir pastores espiritualmente en España? Esto tenemos que cambiarlo. Lo espiritual evidentemente afecta. Y el catolicismo evidentemente pues, está muy arraigado en España. No porque la gente vaya a la iglesia, pero porque la gente lo tiene muy asimilado, que son católicos toda la vida y es muy difícil llegar a ellos. ¿Cuál es la buena noticia del Evangelio? Es que somos pecadores, alguien pagó por nuestros pecados. No hay ninguna obra que una persona pueda hacer para ser salvo. Y por eso es tan importante para mí que la gente escuche el Evangelio en España.
I couldn't shake the feeling, and so I called Pastor Garrett and I said, hey, I'm just gonna give you this information. Whatever happens, happens. In my, I guess you could say, carnal mind, I thought, why would Pastor Warner send a young family of 5 kids? There's no way they would do that. But we ended up going to conference on Monday, and something in my spirit said, you're going to Spain. So I talked to Pastor Warner, Pastor Garrett. They said, why don't you talk to Pastor Maleno? And he said, you should think about going to Sevilla. And I go tell my wife, and she goes, that's crazy. I was thinking about Sevilla. And I said, well, your wishes come true, my love.
I don't think there's ever been a time where the culture around us has been welcoming of the good news. They'd rather hear fables. They'd rather hear things that validate their lifestyle or their direction in life. We are bearers of that good news despite whatever climate may exist around us.
We arrived here February 19th, and we didn't have a building, and so we built out a website. And then I foolishly used Google Translate to make some flyers. And as soon as I start passing the flyers out, some of the people start telling me, hey, you spelt some things wrong and you used the wrong words on the flyer. And interestingly enough, people wouldn't talk to me, but people would come up and correct me about the words that I used on the flyer. And that opened the door for me to talk to them about Jesus and to begin to witness to them. And it's the same thing with our church building. People walk by and they see this tall white man standing there doing the hammer fist preaching, and they are so confused. What is going on? And I very frequently will stop in the middle of my sermon and just start waving and invite them in. Surprisingly enough, people do come in.
I think sometimes people can come into an atmosphere of a church and can have more of a religious mindset, but there's such a difference when you are welcoming where people are at.
And one of the things that just really stuck out to me is that people can see God in you. And I can only say that it's because the Holy Spirit is intervening and making the connection that I can't make. And the powerful thing is it's really convicted me of how much of me was trying to do it on my own before.
trabajo es inmenso y solos no podemos. Yo he descubierto hace muchos años que solo no tenía la fuerza para hacerlo. Por eso siempre traté de estar conectando. Mucha gente me ha dicho, Alberto va a muchas conferencias, y siempre entendí que necesitaba llenarme, necesitaba agarrar la fuerza, agarrar la visión, contacto, amigos, compañeros, y esto me ha llevado a impulsar el Evangelio aquí en España, la iglesia de Almería. Sabe que está conectada con mucha gente en diferentes partes del mundo. No estamos solos, somos parte de una historia mucho más grande. Even when nothing is happening in Spain and everything is a mess, Pastor Warner always had hope for Spain. And I remember one time I called him with problems and conflict, and I said, what is happening here? No way. And he said something I never forget. He said, Alberto, don't worry, you don't have a mother, but you have a grandfather. And relax, I'm going to help you. And now the story is completely different. We are living a moment in Spain now.
It's very enjoyable to just see how God is moving, and even with our children too, for them to kind of see and partake and want to be a part of everything.
I'm so grateful that God would use my life to be a part of seeing other people experience Jesus touching them. And I feel God touching me when God's touching them.
We were renting the church building plus 22 years. And now, for the first time, we had the opportunity to buy a building. It's a building for 500 people because we have the vision that God is going to bring many, many people. We have 19 churches, and God is doing something very fast. We are very happy for that.
The gospel requires two sides. It requires a public side and a personal side. Evangelism requires a public and a personal. We would like to believe that the gospel could simply be communicated by being decent, but words are necessary if you're going to have a real adult conversation. And Satan is working very hard to intimidate us not to say anything.
It's not our responsibility to determine the outcome. Our responsibility is to sow the seed, and that seed is the gospel or the good news.
Es un proyecto comunitario. Solo no podemos ganar las almas. Hay una necesidad muy grande. El mundo es muy grande. España es muy grande. Almería es muy grande. No podemos solo. Pero la clave está en ganar a uno, y ese uno puede alcanzar a su familia, puede alcanzar a sus amigos, y eso nos debe consumir. A mí me consume. Estamos trabajando en diferentes naciones, pero el propósito es ganar alma, llevar gente a los pies de Jesús.
When the Apostle Paul said, my crown and my joy, the crown was a crowning achievement. My work, my labor, you are my crown. You're my reward. And definitely it's changed lives. That makes it all worthwhile when you see people that are different when they first came in or when you first met them.
The good news still marvels me. And this has actually kept me throughout the years. The power of the gospel can work in any generation, amongst any people, amongst any ethnicity, amongst any class of people. It is the power of God unto salvation. It does change people, it changes things, it changes history, it changes societies. When we proclaim the glory of God and we ascribe greatness to our God, things happen. And people are transformed, and the little mustard seed of faith starts to prosper just because someone shares the good news.